to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Large audience tonight. I'll call this meeting West Spring City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Land
Crowner.
distribution.
Here.
Raleigh.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Leeds.
Here.
West.
Here.
Need to perfect and approve the agenda.
So move. Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Leeds.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented. Support.
Motion with support to approve consent agenda items 1 through 9, which is the minutes of the regular city council meeting on June 19th, 2013. Approve the city administrator's attendance at the ICMA annual conference. Approve payment to Shield Technology. Approve payment to Iowa League of Cities. Approve payment to Hometown Plumbing and Heating. Approve payment to Parking for the Future. Approve payment to Farner Bakken. Approve payment to ACO, and approve the claims list as presented in the amount of $205,945.73, and that breaks down to the general fund, $86,328.94, road use tax, $5,177.84, tax increment financing, $204, LMI set aside, $130, TIF debt service, $5,000, capital equipment pool, $13,371.19. Public Works Building, $38,420.87. Water, $23,415.78. Sewer, $17,486.59. Risk Management, Self-Insurance, $4,357.93. Flex Account, $1,471.72. Trust and Agency Water, $29.88. 4th of July celebration, $9,775.57. And the Pin Keels Tour, $775.42. Any discussion?
Mayor, I just want to ask about that partnering for the future invoice?
That payment is actually to Greater Burlington Partnership. It's for that, invest that
And
partnering for the future.
that's a 4-year,
It was a 5-year, I believe. That's our last payment of the amounts that we've already committed to.
$5,000 each year for 5 years, $25,000.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Leeds.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Motion carried. Committee reports. Finance. Rod, you got anything going?
Don't necessarily have anything new for finance. Obviously, we're gonna talk about a couple finance issues. Not really prepared this early date to give a final report on 4th of July, other than to say I think we had a fairly successful party again, celebration in downtown West Burlington. I would like to thank, of course, the mayor and city administrator and the rest of the council for supporting and participating and helping out with that event.
Okay. Anybody have anything for finance? Streets.
I don't really have anything. Randy's not here, but I know that Dan can relate to Randy and tell him that even though the 4th and everything else, no, Rod and I appreciate everything that's going on, especially the city guys to set everything up and get things ready and that, and I do appreciate it. And the other thing, I want to thank everybody for donating to the 4th and everything, and we really appreciate it, and I think it was one of the bigger ones that went off this year.
Very large crowds, what I can say.
Big crowd, yeah.
Okay, anybody else have anything for streets? I think Randy said going out and doing some alley patching.
Yeah, I saw Brad, he was still out at 3 with that big sweeper going through the
Yeah,
alleys.
he's sweeping the alleys so they can start doing some patching. Get some of them holes patched. Finally, most of it are dried out by now. So we get another downpour.
Yeah.
Public safety. Trees?
I don't have anything. Yeah. Even down here. All right.
Got Lieutenant Hand sitting in for
Good, sitting
Chief
there.
Newberry tonight.
Ah,
Got anything major going on?
Just that we did get our new officer hired. He started on July 1st, David Bogue. So he's training with Ringo for the next month or two before he goes to the academy. So. pretty
is he
fortunate.
enrolled yet? Have you got that?
Yeah, he starts the academy, I believe it's August 28th.
Okay.
It's a 15-week, I think, now. So he should be back and on the road probably by January or February. February by himself, I would think, by then. But so it takes a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So. We sent him down to court today. There was a trial going on. We had him go down and sit through court, and he'll probably be there tomorrow to see how it finishes, just to see how that process works. So.
Could have went with me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Mike?
Buildings, Dairy Brothers is completed. Community college restroom upgrade should be completed either late this week or first part of next. Ortho rehab, interior work continues, painting, cabinets, doors installation, ceiling is being installed, electrical, and the outside concrete work has begun. Marshall's at the mall, the demo's completed. They're pouring the new floors and piers and footings for the outside facade and some work on the inside for roof support. Dayton Freight demo's completed, interior work's underway. Valley Distribution, their new office expansion is well underway. Sheetrock wiring and plumbing is being installed. And rental inspections continue, and we are still continuing to schedule them throughout the year. Try to finish them up hopefully by around the first part of November like we did last year. On the fire side, we did a public service. We delivered some smoke detectors to 321 Ramsey at the request of the owner. The association announced that October 12th is going to be the chicken and fish fry in coordination with Fire Prevention Week. We're working on developing a dive team at the request of the hospital because of the Klein Center and the clientele there. The hospital's involved, the fire department, the police department, and Burlington Fire Department is also involved in this development. We have 3 divers on the PD side, 2 police officers and 1 wife that are certified, and we'll take it and work with them from there, and we're hoping to do a dive in September so we can get them started. And finally, we had a good turnout for the breakfast on the 4th of July and the Pink Hills event, and the fire department wants to thank the community for all their support. That's all we got.
Have you got a target date for Marshall's yet?
They're supposed to be completed in October.
So they'll be open for the.
They're gonna be, they wanna be open for the holidays,
Wow.
so.
Chief, I read in the paper a number of 2,000 pancake breakfasts served. Is that an accurate number, or do you have any idea?
It wasn't quite 2,000. Last I heard was over 1,400,
Okay.
but I don't know the exact number.
2,000 seemed, I mean, that's a great number, but it was a lot more than,
Yeah, all right,
a
last,
lot more than we had
yeah.
reported in the last couple of years.
When I looked at the counter, and it was probably another 45 minutes to it, and it was over 1,400 people
Okay.
through the door,
Cool, okay, thanks.
so,
Any way you look at it, it was a whole lot of folks.
yeah, a whole lot of folks. Couple, 3 times down the street.
Yeah.
Because you went a little later too, didn't you? I
Huh?
mean, there was still a line there when it was
At 11.
Oh, yeah, we served
10:30 or 11.
Yeah, we served till probably a little after 11 before we got everybody served, so, went well.
Did the association do anything for the 19 firefighters out west?
No, other than a moment of silence at our training meeting and things like that, yes, we did, but other than that, no, I don't think they sent flowers or anything. I know when we had the shooting that we had up in, where was that, Rhode Island?
Yeah.
We did send a card to the fire department because they went through a lot dealing with all those kids and all that, so. I'm sure the association will do something eventually, once something comes out that, the family
Specific
or
needs.
something, yeah. A lot of that, there's still a lot of things that haven't come out yet that I'm sure they will address at some time.
All righty.
Anything for the chief or the lieutenant? Utilities. Kara, you got anything?
I don't have anything for utilities. Randy isn't here. I do want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the Pink Heels event. Our race was a tremendous success for our first year. I was very, very happy with the turnout, and want to thank everybody that was involved with that. Dan, do you have anything for utilities?
I do not have anything.
Anybody have anything?
I'd like to just quickly comment, Kara, I did attend your walk run, was there for the start of it and the end of it. Didn't stay for the celebration of pictures and the craziness of dumping everybody in pink. I got out of there before that. I thought that was a very well-attended event.
It was.
It went off very smooth. Lot of people in that event that I knew that was walking and running and stuff like that. Shortly after that, unfortunately, my mother was taken to the emergency room and I missed the rest of your day. So I apologize for that, but I thought the walk run went off very smoothly and
It did go
was a
very
good event.
A lot of cornstarch got shot out.
Yes, it did.
All righty, sanitation.
I don't have anything.
Anybody have anything for sanitation? Kelly, you got anything?
We are doing the citywide garage sale the last Saturday in July, and people can register at City Hall, and we're gonna make up a city map showing all of the registered sales. So the sale's Saturday, July 27th from 8 to 4, and they set a rain date the following Saturday, which was August 3rd. The registration deadline is this Friday to be on the map, so if you know anybody interested,
The 26th,
27th,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Leslie, you got anything? All righty. Anyone wishing to address the council on matters that are not on the agenda tonight? Everybody running? New business. Item number 1 is the presentation of Partnering for the Future campaign Campaign 2 from the Greater Burlington Partnership. We got Jason Hutchison and Paul San Diego and Matt Shin here tonight. Want to hop up? Who wants to do the start? Tag team?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening. My name is Matt Shin, and I'm the co-chair for the Partnering for the Future Campaign 2. Approximately 5 years ago, some community leaders got together and decided that we needed to really move our economic development initiatives forward. And 5 years ago, the community as a whole put together a plan to raise $1.5 million to go towards the economic development of our community. Prior to that, the largest amount of money that had ever been raised for economic development was $600,000. So at the time, you can see the risk and the large amount of, I guess, faith in our community and its leadership to rise to the challenge. That campaign was successful in raising the $1.5 million over the 5-year period. And the result of that was 24 new projects to our community. There have been over 800 new primary jobs created. Those dollars helped us to retain 543 jobs that were in jeopardy of being lost. And we've had over $100 million in capital investment since that time. Our tourism expenditures have increased exponentially to over $400 million in that period. And new developments have started throughout our communities. Well, 5 years has passed, and we've had a lot of successes to celebrate. But as that first campaign winds down here in 2013, we're now setting our sights looking forward for the next 5 years. And we've set a new goal of $1,750,000 over the next 5-year period. The goals that were set 5 years ago were very aggressive. And the goals that are set for the next 5 years are very aggressive. But what we've got now, as we look forward for the next 5 years, is we have an absolutely outstanding track record. I think the partnership and the community leadership has shown and demonstrated the ability to take the funds entrusted by the investors and to use them wisely to benefit all of the citizens here in our community. So with that, I'd like to ask Jason Hutchison, President and CEO of the partnership, to talk about the goals for the next 5-year period.
Thanks, Matt. Obviously, we have a brochure, and you're capable of reading that, but I want to walk through some of the highlights of that with you. And as Matt said, under Dennis Hinkle's leadership, there were some pretty aggressive goals set, and really it was time to redouble our efforts in economic development, and there was a lot of risk involved in I think as a community, we've been successful. It wasn't one project. It wasn't half a dozen projects. There were 24 projects, quite a few in your community that contributed to that success. And so it's important, and it was important as we put the next 5-year plan together. We couldn't just take the same goals that we had, even though we were successful, change the numbers and put it out there, because the community has changed, the dynamics here have changed, the economy has changed, and so we need new goals. But we're here really because economic development across the country is typically funded this way, through investment campaigns. In many communities, the public sector supports economic development in very large amounts. In most areas, the public sector support for economic development is greater than the private sector support. That is not the case here. We have incredible private sector support for economic development. And you can see that we've got a leadership team assembled for this campaign. Steve Delaney with Hawkeye, Matt Shin, both our co-chairs. And then we have an outstanding team of leaders to propel this forward. And Paul Santiago with Convergent Nonprofit Solutions is helping us through this effort. His group conducted about 60 interviews when the draft plan was put together, and we've refined it based upon that feedback. You can see some of the other communities in Iowa and what their 5-year investment campaigns are generating in terms of investment. And those communities are going to raise more money than us, but we have a good group of volunteers in our organization and team members that are trained to leverage every dollar effectively. And so although those other communities may outspend us, we've got a darn good program here, and we want to see that move forward. Let's go ahead and jump to the goals, kind of in the middle of your packet. Economic development is really the main focus, and with the fertilizer plant, there are a lot of opportunities on the supplier base, the supply chain of that. And as we talked with our major employers, they've got a real interest in having suppliers locate closely to them. Just-in-time delivery is important. Quality and reliability are important, and the closer a supplier is to those plants, the better the odds that they're going to have a successful relationship together. And so we're working with those existing companies to develop a supplier database, and we want to reach out to those folks. We also, the state of Iowa has been fairly aggressive in reaching out to Eastern Asia. Governor Branstad in particular has built some pretty good relationships over there. We've had a very successful call program in Europe, specifically in Italy, and we want to diversify and reach out to Eastern Asia as well, and do that in partnership with the state of Iowa. Entrepreneurship is still very important to us, and we'd like to see quite a few business starts over the next few years. Industrial site development. Flint Ridge Business Park has been a good success for our community. We started with more than 300 acres. We're down to about 125 acres or so of developable land in Flint Ridge Business Park. But we also need to look at a pure industrial park. There are some industries that are well suited for our demographics and our workforce that we would not want to put in the middle of our in the middle of our community. They might be loud, they might be noisy, they might be a little bit dirty or unsightly. We don't want that in the middle of our community. Some of those things would be better in a pure industrial park. And so we want to put some dollars towards that. The dollars we're raising here are not going to build us our next generation industrial park, but it's going to be a good start in helping analyze some of the infrastructure needs and potentially begin securing some options on some of that land. Workforce attraction and preparedness is is probably the top issue we hear from existing employers. There are employers that have open positions because they cannot find the right talent to fill those positions. It's not every position. There are some targeted positions, but but there are several companies that have open positions, and nearly every employer talks from time to time about the difficulty, whether it be with drug testing or with the correct skill set match or longevity with an employer. Those are all issues that our employers are concerned about. And as we talk to peers across the country in economic development, those communities that figure out this workforce piece are going to be best prepared for the future. They're going to be winning the projects of the future. Yes, community amenities are important. Yes, the right buildings and the right land are important. Yes, infrastructure is important, but people are really important to this equation. And we also have set a goal. We've got folks coming here with the fertilizer plant. They're coming here for a job. They're leaving their families wherever they're coming from, and they're coming here to work. So they've got a pretty strong work ethic. We'd like to keep a few of those folks here. And so we want to do some marketing and outreach to those folks that are going to be in our communities temporarily and try to encourage them to stay here permanently. And we've set a goal of reaching out to 10% of those and convincing 10% of the temporary workforce to call this community home for the rest of their lives. Community enhancement is always on our radar, and we've set a new goal of population. I don't have to tell you, population in this general area has declined for quite some time. It's time to turn that tide and set a goal of increased population. So we've set a goal of 42,000 countywide by 2020. To do that, we're going to have housing stock, and we're going to have the right housing stock. And so we're going to do some additional analysis on that and work with you as regulators and you as encouragers to make sure that we've got the right housing stock available and can do what we need to do to conquer that challenge. Also, leadership is important in both business and in community. And by pure demographics, we're going to have a shift in the workplace, and there are going to be leadership positions open. There are going to be spots in elected office that are going to be open, and we've got a fairly successful leadership program we started a couple years ago. We'd like to see 75 folks go through that program over the next 5 years. I'm going to skip downtown redevelopment. I'll come back to that. Visitor attraction. We are the third fastest county in the state for tourism growth right now. Our industry is doing really well. We still have a ways to go. We still have some capacity at our hotels we'd like to see filled, but tourism's been a pretty important industry to our community. Downtown redevelopment, specifically downtown Burlington redevelopment. I know this isn't at the top of your taxpayers' priority list, but I think we would all agree that for our community at large, seeing redevelopment in some of the buildings in downtown Burlington is a good thing for the entire community. There's been some momentum there in recent years, and we want to see that continue. That's really the plan. You can read the things that I have skipped over, but that's the vision for the next 5 years. And I think the reason that a 5-year plan is important is because it sets the mark out there and it allows us to align our work plan to that. Sure, we're going to tweak it along the way as needs change, but that's the vision, and that's how we're going to allocate the resources. And so we're out there visiting with the public and private sector to make this happen. We have about $1.3 million committed to the effort at this point in time, so we are well on our way to that 1.75 goal. Our request of the City of West Burlington is a consideration of $10,000 a year over the next 5 years. It is an increase from where you're at today, It is the same number that we have asked Des Moines County for and intend to ask the city of Burlington for. Why is that? We believe that our government partners are equal partners, and so that's the reason for the request. I've done a lot of talking, as I usually do, but I'm very, very interested in your feedback and input.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
I think it's a good program, and I believe, well, majority of us up here in city council voted for it the last time around. My question is that 10,000 seems a hefty price per year when we probably bring in the least amount of taxes generated to us with local option sales tax. That, you know, I just don't think that I personally could guarantee 10,000. I'm not a year. We just, I don't know. I think Des Moines County and Burlington, they have a bit of more population than we have, and I just think 10 from us is steep. But that's just my opinion.
Now, we did originally start funding that out of local option. We changed that about midway, and now we're funding that out of TIF
I'm gonna ask you.
with
where
a
we was getting
development
that money
agreement.
from.
So that does free up a little more money than what we had when we originally made the donation of half that last time. We have a little bit better pool of money so we could fund a higher amount if that's what you desire. We have the money to do that.
Well, you put some nice literature together here. I'm just curious how Kara got in here.
She was in the right place at the right time. And she's cuter.
I'm also on the banner downtown on the bridge.
Heck of a lot cuter.
Come in from Illinois, you can see her again.
Oh, really? Your dear council member's letter here, my gosh, you're taking credit for everything. Do you not think a lot of this would have happened without your having a Partnering for the Future initiative program? You cite, for example, the General Electric, and Jason, I know you had a lot to do with that. But I think that was outside of the plan, Weingart Company. Did that have anything to do with the plan, the case expansion? You cite those items in your letter. Just going along with what Councilwoman Lease is saying, I think there's a lot more that Partnering for the Future does for communities outside of West Burlington than they do for West Burlington. That 10 grand is a surprise to me that you'd be asking that much. Quite honest with you, until tonight's meeting, I wasn't even aware that we were giving you $5 grand a year. I guess I missed that the last couple of years when we paid that bill, but I think a lot of this is going to happen on its own. You cited you want 25 new businesses to start. Do you know what those might be, or is that just a wish or an estimate of how many might start? Or
I appreciate your question on several levels. This is part of our work plan, and there have to be dollars for the organization to operate. If you're asking me if the $5,000 a year that West Burlington committed to this effort last time around is directly responsible for General Electric staying in town, I'm not going to make that link. This is the strategic plan for the future, and we believe that dollar amount is what's needed to implement the plan. Now, we have a strict standard. When you talk about taking credit for projects, there are a lot of things that happen organically in the community. Those things are not included in our totals. When we talk about 24 projects and the number of jobs that we've seen created, those are only projects that we played a role in.
Okay.
Now, did we make the difference? I don't know. It would be arrogant for me to say that in every project we were the ingredient that made it successful. Private companies create jobs. We don't do that. But only those things that we play a role at the table. The 25 business starts, for example, we're going to have a lot more than 25 businesses start over the next 5 years. We want to see 25 businesses come out of our business plan competition. Would those businesses have started anyway? I don't know, maybe. We think that by going through our competition and getting their business plan critically reviewed by 10 sets of eyes over a 3 to 4 month period, we think that improves their odds of starting their business. So I appreciate your question, and I hope I've answered it adequately.
Yeah. It's just, it's careful wait. It's so danged easy to sit up here and spend somebody else's money. It is. It's the easiest thing I've ever done in my life.
I mean, it's just like a question of how do you determine if everybody gives $10,000, that how you share so that the business is equal into both different cities and their surrounding areas?
We don't.
No.
You can't.
Well, I know that. It's just,
You know, this, to me, this is a whole different animal, the way I look at it. You know, you gotta take the walls down eventually, because it doesn't matter, you know, if it's good for Burlington, eventually it's good for us. If it's good for us, it's good for Burlington, it's good for the county. It's just a circle that works all the way around.
you're right.
And the majority of our residents don't work just in West Burlington. You know, the ones that do have jobs. They work in Burlington or the county or Mount Pleasant or Fort Madison. So, you know, we're all in this together to try to maintain and get jobs. And, you know, we ought to be promoting it and as best as we can, and because the good paying jobs aren't there anymore. And that's what we're trying to get back, is some of these good paying jobs. We can't, kids starting out today, they can't live on $8 an hour. Not when gas is $4 an hour. And when we see, you know, my biggest fear has already started. We got the slumlords raising the price of their rental properties with this fertilizer plant coming in. They've banded together and come up with you know, they're so much against unions, but right down to the nitty gritty, they formed the union. So,
Unofficial.
Unofficial.
I think
So,
another
you know,
important point of this is, like Jason mentioned, you know, the three governments are only putting $150,000 into this, 1.7 million. That's a big amount of private dollars that are going into this, and
Less than 10%.
I think us leveraging a little bit of money to that is probably a pretty good investment.
The investment is, I mean, job-wise and everything else, you're gonna see a $10 to $13. I had, what Hans had and what I had isn't there anymore. I don't think it ever will be. Not for quite a few years, or even within the 10 years. But you'll still see the 13, maybe possibly up to 15. But even they don't hire lawyers anymore. They don't hire a few of the other people that's been going on for the higher paying jobs anymore. I just haven't seen, it's like General Electric, you know, and I even worked at General Electric, how General Electric has brought stuff back into the United States. I haven't seen. And you see what they have done over there at that factory, and it's a decrease more than an increase. Of course, I know how they work, and that's the way they like to work.
Well, I do like the part about a task force with the school superintendents. Is anything like that being done now?
We've had a workforce committee for some time, but it needs to improve its aggressiveness, and we need to get more folks at the table, and that's going to be critical.
Were the superintendents willing to participate in this?
I think they will be. We had the pasta in politics with the city councils a couple of months ago. We did the same thing with the school districts, all of the public districts in Des Moines County, and it was a good session. There was a lot of dialogue between them that they haven't had, and I think we need to do some more of that.
But just to go back to your comment, Dan, the $50,000 is probably peanuts as to the 1.7 million, but we also give tax incentives and rebates and things of that nature that we just can't wipe that away, that just this 50,000 is all that we do, because we do more than that.
We'll still have to do all that stuff if we have stuff coming to our community. Still have to keep doing that. That's,
Well, I realize that, but you didn't mention that.
I think GE should donate some of their money back and invest.
So eventually, Mr. Gifford, how would we decide on this? What will eventually happen here? I mean, these fine folks are making a presentation this evening, but what would we end up doing? Putting this on a future
we'll
agenda
put this on an agenda and discuss it and hash it out and.
with suggestions from you and Leslie on for sure how to pay for it
Yeah.
and scheduling that into what we've already planned for our greater West Burlington future. Jason knew that was coming sooner or later.
Yeah, like,
And let me
Well, we're
defend.
definitely gonna have to budget for it, so it's gonna
Yeah,
be.
that's what I'm saying.
During
And I would
budget.
agree with about 7/8 of what the mayor said. I'm not sure about that union amongst the renter guys, but anyway. But the rest of that, I basically agree with what he said. And to defend your organization, do you help, do you not help? Definitely you do. Do some of these projects happen without you? Absolutely. Did you play a big role in helping us locate Honda here in town? Yes, you did. And you and I both know that, and we were in on some of those joint telephone calls along with Mr. Gifford and Mr. Raleigh. And so, yeah, I have a little bit of a crawl on the downtown development, as you already knew. You already knew that was coming from me. I have a problem with that being one of 6 bulletin points. You break this project down into 6 bulletin points, and one of them is solely construction downtown Burlington. And yet my contribution you asked to be the same as Burlington's. I, like some other council people, have a little bit of a problem with that. However, I do see the bigger picture, and as Hans said, what's good for one ends up eventually being good for the other. It's hard for me to see that as one of only 6 items. If it was one of 10 or 20, it would be easier for me to handle.
Rod, did you say our contribution would be the same as Burlington's?
Yeah, and I have some heartache with, that's what Jason said. He's asking us for 10, Burlington for 10, and Des Moines County
Oh,
for 10.
I heard the county, I didn't hear it. Burlington for
Yeah.
10?
Correct.
So I guess I
You said
understand that,
you
but
said
yet I
equal
don't.
partners.
You know, and you and I have had many conversations.
Sure.
And you know, it's been said in the community that when the chamber walks in, Crowner says, sure, let's do it, get out the checkbook. But that's not true, and you and I both know that's not true. At some level, I'm obviously for this, gonna vote for it. If too many of my council people have too big of a heartache with the 10 million, I might waver a little bit.
10,000.
10 million.
10,000.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah, let's cut that back just a little bit. Almost had you some extra money. But you know that, and you know where I'm coming from, Jason. We've had many talks, and, but you guys do this stuff as one of your quotes, one of your mottos is something about doing the things that people think just get done or something like that. And I've seen you folks at work. I've seen the things you've been able to do, how you've been able to get between the companies and the cities and put deals together that probably wouldn't have got done otherwise, quite honestly. It's very hard for CEOs of companies to come knocking on our door and ask for stuff and us to deal with them. And it works out better dealing through you guys as the agent and so on and so forth. So I'm basically in support of this program. A few little tweaks would be nice, but, I'm going to vote for some part of it.
I think at the end of the day, what we'd like to get is a 5-year commitment. And, you've got to pick the number that makes sense for you and the folks that you represent. Obviously, it's subject to annual appropriation. We know that. And, if you're not happy with the performance, then you address it down the road. But so what we're asking our public partners for is a 5-year commitment, knowing full well that it's got to go through the budgeting process and is subject to that annual appropriation.
It was also good that you brought along a nice West Burlington young man with you,
An alumni.
Mr. Matt Shin.
I didn't know this is a little more formal setting than normal that I'm used to. But I hope everyone has an opportunity to read the brochure, because what brought my family to this community 1970 was a job. It was a job,
In Chandler.
it was a job. And the Shin family wouldn't be in southeast Iowa today if it wasn't for a job. And there's a lot of things that you do give to, but this one goes to building the entire community. You know, and jobs, I think, bring self-esteem and those kinds of things back into the home. Jobs, ultimately, at the end of the day, put shoes on kids' feet, they put coats on their backs, and they also pay taxes that help promote schools. And I don't know of any other campaign or investment that you can make or that's out there that helps promote this the way that you do. So I personally am very passionate about this. Two Rivers is very passionate about it. Without giving the number, I will tell you that this is the biggest investment. That we make the largest investment our company makes is in the Partnering for the Future campaign. Because just like the city of West Burlington, Two Rivers, we are an integral part of this community. And unlike General Electric or some of these other companies or whoever, I don't mean to single them out. My dad worked there. I don't mean to single them out. We can't pick up and move. And Two Rivers is only as strong as the communities in which we serve. You know, and that's why we feel very strong and we're very passionate about the work that the partnership does, and we appreciate your leadership and your consideration of this.
See, and what I'm getting at is like group-wise is that when you stand there and you come to the city council and that stuff in there, and General Electric was an important business in our area the whole time, like your dad, myself, and quite a few people. Case Company the same way. But then we get turned around and you come and ask us $5,000 and we give it to you to try to help improve. And then we go up to $10,000. Well, we got to pay GE $50,000 a year out of our budget. And it would be nice if you guys would go and say it to Jim Evatt, can you help us out with $5,000 out of the company, or even $2,500 to help the community, you know? And they're supposed to be a community order, but could help the city too, as far as what they're doing. We bailed them out, we helped them out, and we pay a tremendous amount of money on our side in there. So sometimes if you could go around to some of the companies and said, you know, can you help out with $1,000, or can you help out, you know, with that? With Teresa standing there saying $5,000, with GE maybe could give it $5,000 to help the city, or even split it that way. And it's a big part for us not to downgrade GE or something of that sort, but bring them back out and maybe they can improve, you know, of what they're doing, because they're helping out in the community. And people won't have that hate feeling about GE sometimes.
I owe everything to the generous general. As my dad used to call him.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And so forth. But you know, and we are an equal opportunity asker. Because at the end of the day, they are as big as part of this community as the next person. And there isn't any stone that's really getting unturned in that regard.
Of course, I know Jeff can afford it.
I'm sorry. So.
And the other good thing about this thing is you got you and Delaney working together. I think that's pretty neat. Mr. Negative, Mr. Positive. I like that.
Hey, it's amazing what the partnership can do. You know. Good stuff.
Had to be said. Thanks.
The only thing I can add is that it's too bad that we gotten to this point. Because 40 years ago, these companies were locally run and not by somebody that sits way over there in BF Egypt somewhere, you know, and puts a dollar figure to this and that, where we had local interest in the companies and you didn't have to worry about going to the city councils and begging for money. You didn't have to go, you know, to an organization, you know, like Greater Burlington Partnership to come up to keep these companies here, because they made the investments and all this, but we're all playing the same game, and I'd like to meet the first ones that started it, because I'd like to take them out behind the woodshed
Careful now.
somewhere.
Mayor, if I can share one more thing.
Go ahead.
Several years ago, there was a group that went to Dubuque to take a look at Dubuque once Dubuque landed the IBM. And, you know, and if anybody remembers what Dubuque looked like in the 80s, unemployment was double digit. It was in the teens, and the saying in Dubuque was, with the last one in Dubuque, please turn the light off. And I really think the 80s were kind of a special time for Dubuque, because Dubuque had an opportunity to either get with the program or live up to the motto, with the last one, please turn the lights off. And through that crisis, they got with the program, and we can see what the results of that are today. I've been told throughout my life that there are really primarily two things that really create change: crisis and leadership. I would prefer not to wait for crisis. I'd rather have the leadership.
But in the Dubuque, it was the CEOs and everybody that got involved in it.
It was the what?
CEOs and everybody that got involved in that. It wasn't just cities that was getting involved. There was everybody that got involved in that.
And the CEOs are involved.
Yeah,
The local,
obviously.
the local.
To the point of Mr. Gifford saying that cities are contributing 150,000 of the 1.7 million.
Exactly.
Less than 10%.
Yeah. No, you're asking of us is minute of the whole goal.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And that is why I sit here with a totally clear conscience, knowing what our company is contributing.
Absolutely.
And I feel very good about asking the city of West Burlington to consider this ask, because I personally, I wouldn't be sitting here, feel like it's a great investment for the city to make.
And I've never said it publicly, but I know that, and this company isn't even in West Burlington, but they got a West Burlington address, Standard Beaverdale. They've contributed a lot, and which
Mr. Posse.
really
That's exactly right.
Yep.
doesn't ever come out, but tonight I would like to recognize them and say thank you to them, you know, in public, because I've seen the numbers that they've contributed.
Yeah, Ken Schwenker and his company definitely have a heart for the community, and definitely are about promoting the greater good. Absolutely.
Well, we will put this on the future. I don't think anybody's against it up here. I mean,
I think
we
we'll
might
make a
be-
5-year commitment, we just don't
Yeah.
know what that dollar figure
what
will
that
be.
dollar figure's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be less than what we've contributed. We'll have to figure out something during the budget.
Are we gonna vote for that after or before the franchise tax vote?
Oh,
How about in September?
Would make a difference on how much money we have in our coffers, depending on how that vote goes, right?
That's true.
Well, we wanna thank you for coming.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
For your time.
Sorry for the hard time.
We appreciate it.
I'd feel left out if you did, you know? All right, thanks.
Oh, item number 2 is to consider payment to Snyder Associates for engineering services, $38,420.87 for design services, and $204 for construction on the lift station.
Motion to approve both payments.
Support,
Motion with support. Any discussion?
just one. We were going, what was we went over,
$1,200, exactly.
yeah. Are they done? Is that 100% done now,
Yeah.
or are they still working on stuff?
Those were for incidentals. That's in
Incidental.
the contract. It was actually for the plants that they had to send out, which weren't included in the original contract.
Okay,
Roll call.
Lees,
aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider change to personnel manual, overtime hours. Right now, we've got overtime hours listed as that anything out over 8, and we need to change that to 40.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Only makes sense.
Makes good sense.
Makes good sense, but I'm not for it.
Oh, really?
Well, I used to get paid overtime after 8.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Sorry, Mayor.
You put in a
Just
40-hour
full
work week,
employees,
though.
And it only comes
I
in
understand.
factor when they do lifeguarding, they do swimming lessons and
Well,
pool parties.
Yeah, they can work 20 hours a week and get
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours overtime if they do swimming lessons in the morning and a pool party at night. They could just work that one day and get a few hours overtime.
If you're there over 8, then you get overtime.
Probably not appropriate for that level of
Not in this
employee.
new age.
Okay. Roll call.
West.
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is to consider purchase of training prop for the fire department and the amount of $5,000.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
I went and talked to Mike about this today because I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of until he told me what it was, and
Could you explain it to me, Mike?
It's a steel door.
Steel door.
That's all you,
1,000-pound steel door that we can use for forcible entry, firefighter 1, firefighter 2. That's what it's all about. They used it here in November when we had the traditions group in here. They did Halligan 101 and 102 classes, and they loved it.
at the cost of bringing that in was $1,800.
$1,800 for the 2-day class, and we can use it now whenever. And I know, I talked to Matt about it, and Burlington wants to use it and the whole bit, so it won't go unused, believe me.
Well, don't take this wrong, is that if other fire departments use it, would it be better to share the costs of the thing? Or is it just that you want it,
I want it for our guys, mostly,
okay,
because this is
but
a
you're still gonna lend it out to anybody
Well,
else?
Everybody wants to use it, but it'll be under our instruction of our people, not just anybody hitting on it.
So could we charge for that?
Yeah,
We could, to try to regain part of it, if they put a class on or whatever.
well, I feel that, if you're gonna put a class on it, maybe a small charge, it could be $10, I don't care.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just the idea of a small charge, since we're gonna go ahead and pay for it. Or the other idea would be if you would all gather, knowing that you're gonna use it, and everybody pays a share of it.
Yeah, and that would have to go through each city council and all that, who knows? I'd rather have it and have our people using it, and it's a hands-on prop, which right now, this department doesn't have many hands-on props. When we get the concrete poured out there and get some more cars in out there, and we're gonna build some roof props and some other things out there, we need the hands-on.
I just feel if you're gonna
Yeah.
train it for other fire department, if you
No,
would
we can
have-
always charge a service
if you would
charge
have a
just for,
small
or a
charge
user
for it.
fee. You're not gonna just pick it up and move it because it's 1,000 pounds.
Right.
So.
Which they could come here and even
Sure,
have the
absolutely, but
class.
that's what I say, our guys that went
Yeah.
through the Halligan would be the instructors for the class. So we
Well, I'd
could,
like to see officers that come up with a small charge with something.
But it's for popping the locks off, the deadbolts, all that kind of stuff.
yeah, from a door that swings in, from a door that swings out, and everything else, so we can go into a business or whatever, if we don't have a Knox box, we can take the door off, pop it, walk in, do our thing, come back out, put it back together.
Without doing great damage. to
Never
the-
even know we were there.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what they learned that weekend when they came in back in November.
Did they have burglary tools? No, never.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we probably don't
Dan,
want to
could
know.
you work with them on some type of charge with them?
It shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Did you have a motion made?
Yes.
Yeah. Ready for a roll call?
Yes. Crowner,
Aye.
Raleigh,
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Hi.
Carried.
And our guys are gonna go pick that up.
Yep, at no charge, bring it back, set it up. Like I said, when we talked today, we have to put it on a pallet and do some beefing up of the pallet, because it's gonna take 1,000 pounds. You can't just pick it up by 2 or 3. If we can get it on a pallet, then we can use the Public Works tractor to pick it up and move it as we have classes, and When we don't have classes, we can put it back and store it.
Next week,
Why don't you call Huffman's and see if they can build you
That's a great idea.
a metal pallet,
That's a great idea.
a wooden pallet, because
Okay.
You may not hold it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's gonna take some support, because we got to anchor to it and the whole bit.
That's a great idea.
More hands-on, and that's what we need.
they could probably build you a metal pallet to hold that kind of weight.
Okay.
Okay. Item number 5 is consider HVAC for the fire station utilizing funds from 2012 Safer Grant in the amount of $77,690 for the air conditioning and heating unit and a 10-year warranty, $375.
Motion to approve.
Or,
Motion with support.
Where are these guys out of? I've never heard of
Discussion.
Oliver.
They're out of here, out of West Burlington.
Are they really?
They got a
Route.
rural route, yeah. I've seen their trucks running around, Oliver on the sides.
See him working all the time on top of the Broadway.
Oh, is that right?
All the time,
That's not good.
Whole system?
yes.
Trying to keep the,
So they didn't fix it today, and they're back tomorrow again.
another rainforest in there?
There's a hint there. I have one problem with it.
It's a new unit, though.
Yeah, I know, and that's the good part. And they're good people. And all three of these bidders are good people. I have a slight problem with this. We say in here the other bidders were, but we don't share what their bids were. And then we say down here, one of the reasons we want to give it to these people is because they were very courteous and timely.
And they were.
I'm more interested in the low bidder than I am
They
courteous
are
and
the low
timely.
bidder. The other bid was 8617,
Okay.
and Jern's was over 10,000.
Okay. I just wish we'd have shared those numbers right up front. I'm just saying, we need to, at all times, try to take the lowest bidder.
Sure.
And I
Well,
wanted to make sure
The
that we were.
FEMA, we have to take the lowest
Okay,
bidder.
all right, all right. Well, getting you to state that helps me just fine, and I'm okay.
Yeah. No, all the bids, they go in the file for FEMA, so if we get audited, they can see all the bids and what everybody bid. The other thing is that we're bidding more heavier, bigger units for the station, because if we add on to the station or remodel the station, we'll have the tonnage already sitting there, ready to go. So we're trying to be more proactive to it than just put another half-ton unit in there and cross our fingers that it cools in 8 hours, where we can do everything we want to do and cool it in 30 minutes.
Like I said, I don't have any problem with it. I just wanted to make sure that we were following our normal system of typically taking the lower bid because I didn't have those numbers and because of the attached letter that talks about taking these people because they were courteous and timely and prompt and in an opinion have an exceptional warranty package. I don't,
Well, the warranty-
I can't always make my decisions on those interpersonal functions that go on. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
The warranty package FEMA can't handle, so we have to
Yeah,
take that out.
why is that?
What's that?
I would think that would be in their best interest.
Well, I would too. I mean, if I want the business, I would,
You're dealing with the government. Are you kidding me?
Sorry. It comes with a 1 year, and then is it 10 years on top of that, you
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What's your pleasure?
Don't we have a motion and a,
we do.
Yep.
Yes.
With the warranty?
Yep.
Both, okay. All, roll call.
Raleigh,
yeah,
Stewart. Lees,
Aye.
West,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion
Got you
carried.
guys, didn't I?
Item number 6 is to consider purchase of fire comm system for Tower 1 in the amount of $6,719.70.
motion to approve.
Or,
With support, discussion.
Why didn't we get this? Did we say no to this?
no, I had to cut it to make the
You-
716. I had to
okay.
cut it when we were in Florida doing the pre-build. We had to cut that. We cut the rear camera. We cut, I mean, I had so many dollars and, these were the things that were getting cut and, because I figured we could put this on and it was no major component, structural component that it would take to put it back on the
Okay.
truck. And, the good thing is that we waited, we're going digital and we're going wireless. Versus when we did it on the truck at the point, we would have had a cord on it and you would have been stuck.
So-
The good part about this is, with aerial operations or whatever, they can wear their headsets and they won't miss any radio traffic and they can keep communications up. And it's right, it's an under a helmet fit, and they can go 1,800 feet away from the truck or up in the tower and still be able to communicate with either command or the driver of the truck, operating the bucket or the pump or whatever they're doing. So it was a plus to wait the 2 years, believe me.
Screwed up in reverse.
Yeah, kind of. Technology caught it and it was a benefit to us.
Okay, roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Carried. Item number 7 is to consider purchase of laser radar unit for police department.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. It's amount $2,265. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 8 is to consider a resolution approving use of preliminary official statement for a public works building project.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
You have to.
Roll call.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart. Lees.
Aye.
Carried. Any old business? Anybody have any old business? Anyone wishing to address the council on matters we did discuss or didn't discuss tonight? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Lord, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.